So you're at a women's collegiate field hockey game, Temple University in Philadelphia. You're playing your match. You're doing your thing. Weather's good. And then all of a sudden, what's that sound? Oh, and you got to book it off the field because you might get shot and die. Literally, you got bullets ricocheting in the stands where your family members might be sitting. Not good. Let's watch the footage. Here we go. This is crazy.
Looks like players are running off the field. There were some loud noises, and it looks like players are evacuating the field right now.
This poor girl. She just wants not to die from gunfire. Can't get off the field. Trips. Difficult. You've got the defensive effort here. These folks going on offense. These folks are, set there to protect the goal. And you watch this crew up in here. Hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. If you put on some headphones, you can hear it. Pop, 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 pop. And the pop, pop, pop goes off in the announcer's microphone. So that's why you've got kind of that a little bit of a delay. You'll hear a slightly quieter version. That's in his audio in the booth, because this shot here is being taken from the booth. He's looking down, and right behind him, over his right-hand shoulder, would be where the bullets are coming in. Boom, 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 because they're coming from a Kentucky Fried Chicken. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. We're going to look at the map. So some gangbangers at Kentucky Fried Chicken decide to have some kind of let's do a little target practicing on who knows what. And, bullets fly into the stands of this game. And the female athletes are like, "Oh, we got to get out of here." So you can see the confusion. Some of them are turning around looking. They're looking at the direction of the gunfire. And then all of a sudden, so these defenders here are, coming from the backfield, and they make a hard left swoop. But while they're doing that, all of a sudden they're like, "We got to get off the field. Don't want to die today. Today is not my day for dying." And they literally just all of a sudden forget about the game and book it off the field. And what they do is there's a couple of girls here that make a real hard run for over here. And I think everybody is like, okay, herd mentality. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Let's go. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Now, folks want to talk about, well, there's gun violence. Well, who was shooting the guns? Who was shooting the guns? Yeah, that's my question. Because guns don't just jump up and shoot themselves from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Let's take a quick peeky-see at what we've got going on here. And I want to show you kind of how this was situated. So here is, let's back up just a scooch here. Here's Temple University, Haworth Field. Here's the building. The stands would be right here. This is what I've kind of put together, just kind of looking at all the footage and looking at how the buildings are set up. And you got a street over here. But I believed that the footage we saw was just over here, and your Kentucky Fried Chicken, yep, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, is right here. And the shooting took place in a parking lot. And so I think what happened is your stands are kind of in the middle here. So maybe your shooter was here, and I don't know who they're shooting at. We don't know, because guess what? Guess how many arrests were made? Yeah, none. Why are no arrests made during the middle of a day when you got a sports game going on next door, literally next door? Middle of the day. And, you heard, I don't know if you heard, but I heard, and it was multiple gunshots. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom. So I think the parking lot here Shots fired this direction, hit the stands here. These girls, with the goal was here, and they ran somewhere right in here, I believe, or they ran somewhere over here, something like that. Maybe the goal was here. I think that is kind of the trajectory, so that makes sense to me. I don't know. I could be completely off on that. I could be totally off, but that is what, given how the stand, I looked at the stands, I looked at pictures of the stands, I looked at kind of schematic of how the setup is there at the field. Gunshots rang out across the street from a game between LaSalle and St. Louis in Philadelphia. Now, the fact that you have no arrest made and you have gunfire in the middle of the day, odds are this is a gang shooting. This is some kind of gang related shooting, right? Because you've got Kensington not that far to the north and east from where Temple University is. We can back out. I can show you just kind of what we're talking about. If you're not familiar with Kensington Avenue, that's an area of Philadelphia that's had some real issues. Let's just say that. Some of the most horrific footage of people losing their limbs because of trank dope are from Kensington Avenue. And here's Kensington Avenue here. Here's Kensington in general. Here's Temple University, Haworth Field. So is it a stretch to think that maybe you got some gangbangers running drugs in the area? And let's be honest, it's Philadelphia, right? Any one of these big Democrat-run cities, liberal cities, you got gang fire. You've got gangs. It is not guns jumping up and shooting people from across the, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Are we supposed to just call it KFC? Because I don't think we call it fried anymore. No, I don't think we do. I think we just call it KFC, because fried, even though fried chicken is so good. I had a couple of pieces of fried chicken last week from a grocery store that my girlfriend had picked up. It was like, oh, this is really all that fried skin. It's the best, right? Last Friday, a women's field hockey team ended abruptly due to a nearby shooting. St. Louis and LaSalle were facing off at Haworth Field at Temple University in Philadelphia. LaSalle, another Philly school, is playing its home games at the field this year. They're not even playing on their own home field. We're playing in another field, and shots ring out. And there was enough shots where those players turned around and they're looking and they're like, holy cow, we need to get off here. I would think, if I was in school and I read as much news as, I think most folks are roughly aware of kind of the number of shootings and school situations going on out there, I'm going to sprint my ass off the field as well. Just book it. Yep. Today's not a good day for me dying. Don't want to do that. Hope mom and dad in the stands, or, whomever is up there. It's college. So, I hope they're okay. With 10:45 left in the game, gunshots rang out across the block, leading to just about everyone at the complex being forced to take cover. What does that look like in the stands? Have you ever tried to run down a set of stands, super quick? They're aluminum and they kind of just, they go like that, and you got a bunch of people milling about and there's popcorn and somebody spills a drink, that kind of thing. You tried to run down those. It's not the easiest of things. Plus you're trying to avoid the gunfire. The gunfire from some idiot just cranking off rounds. Maybe he's shooting at somebody. We don't know. Maybe he's just thinking this would be a great Saturday afternoon, whatever it is. Was this Friday afternoon event? I'm just going to empty out my clip here and see what the people over at that game do. Yeah, well, they ran for cover, as you do. Situation prompted LaSalle to break its silence on the senseless gun violence. Again, this is not gun violence. This is probable gang violence. And when you put it in that context, then you need to start locking some folks up. You need this whole, restorative justice. You need to lock up the folks doing this kind of stuff, because at some point in time, somebody's going to crank off rounds at another sporting event and people are going to die. People are going to be killed. And we will have already had this as a indicator. I don't know if I've seen another story like this where they have literally captured the college athletes sprinting off the field. I mean, those girls were running. I mean, like as if their life depended on it, because their life depended on it. Scary stuff. In its statement released Friday, the team said that bullets began entering the complex, leaving the players in serious danger. I don't think the athletes out on the field were in any danger at that distance. I don't believe. Again, I don't know, but that would be my guess, right? That would be my guess. But you start to hear some clanging in the aluminum stands of, bullets kind of ricocheting about. Yeah, there's going to be a moment, and you could see that moment where the girls are kind of looking back, and then all of a sudden they confirm, and then all of a sudden, boop, off the field we go. Everyone on the field was exposed. Horrible. Forced to run for their lives as they heard bullets whizzing overhead, and witness shots crossing the field, some striking the turf. I take back my statements that they weren't in danger. If the bullets are hitting the field, and the bullets are whizzing overhead, the whole thing that's scary. That's just scary stuff, right? Fans supporting the Explorers and Billikens, those are their team mascots, right? They had to take cover as bullets hit the bleachers where they had been seated. Players who made it to the locker room safely had no idea if their friends, families, and missing teammates were injured, the team wrote and sent in a post on X. So they are literally probably locked down in the locker room. If somebody's on the phone, police will be coming, that whole thing. They had that entire scene, and they're going to be hunkered down in their lockdown, I would assume. So otherwise, they don't know what's going on. Obviously, somebody is shooting a gun somewhere. And that's the real danger, right? So get to a safe place, hunker down, wait for the police to show up, wait for the authorities to show. So as far as this happening at a sporting event where you've got ESPN Plus showing the feed, that is scary. That is just absolutely scary. But here's what I would say. This is Philadelphia. This isn't that close from Kensington Avenue. Are you shocked? Is it absolutely shocking? And then to have, people want to quote about gun violence. All right. But that gun, it didn't just pop off by itself over there at KFC, did it? No, somebody made the intentional commitment to, I'm going to crank off a bunch of rounds in this direction. We'll just see how it goes. And that person was probably a gang member. Let's be honest. Odds are. Not saying it is. We have no confirmation that that's the case. But what other kind of knucklehead would do this? Right? Am I right? This is not normal. No, I agree. This is not normal. That's why we're covering it here on News for Reasonable People, because this is not reasonable. So, bottom line is, you need politicians. You need folks that are going to be tough on crime. We're in that, justice reform. We hated the cops back in 2020. Not we, but collectively as society, and especially in Democrat-run big liberal cities. Oh, defund the police was the greatest thing ever until it wasn't. And now you've got things like this going on because the bad guys, they know that you're stupid enough to try and think, this is all the guns' fault. And they know they're going to be able to get away with this kind of thing. And so far, in this case, they have. No arrests were made. How is it possible in 2024 when you've got security cameras? Everybody's car has a security camera. Everybody's got a phone. They've got whatever. Somebody's got footage of exactly who did this, right? But nobody wants to squawk, do they? Because you're going up against a gang. Yeah. So it's mum's the word. You don't say anything, just nothing. Even though it's a broad daylight shooting that interrupted a college sporting event with an ESPN Plus live feed. This is not normal. We cannot accept this as our reality. Well, you're going to have to accept it as your reality until you become tough on crime, period. This whole justice reform thing has gone sideways, and this is an end result of that. So until you're willing to put some of the bad guys in jail, no matter, the optics of that, this is your reality. And this is what you'll need to accept, because this is how it goes. We are committed to sharing our story, the real story. The real story is you had to run your asses off the field because you might have got shot, and that's horrible. And I wouldn't want to see that for anybody. But the reality is this could have been prevented. This didn't used to happen. When you had shootings and that type of thing were a huge no-no, and people got sent away for years, decades for, a public shooting like that. Doesn't happen anymore. It's like, oh, okay, that's a misdemeanor. It's all right. I mean, you didn't hit anybody, so it's all good. Oh, the girls got scared. They probably got pretty worked up. But at the end of the day, everybody's got a target practice out of the parking lot of KFC now and then, right? Right? No. The public must understand the severity of this ongoing issue. We do. 100%. And we cannot achieve that if experiences like ours continue to be deflected. And that's why I'm podcasting it, but not from the standpoint of go ahead and take everybody's guns away. No. Incarcerate people who use guns illegally, period. And incarcerate them from a long period of time. I mean, it's as simple as that, but nobody wants to recognize that. Oh, it's the guns. It's the guns. No, it's not the guns. Guaranteed. I place money on this. Whomever shot those guns, because it sounded like there was more than one, whomever was shooting those guns didn't obtain them legally. They were probably stolen. Maybe they were a ghost gun. Don't really know, right? Don't really know. But we cannot achieve that if experiences like ours continue to be deflected. I'm not deflecting it. I'm taking it head on. I'm reporting it here for you on News for Reasonable People. But not in the way that I think a lot of folks, we need to take away all the guns. Yeah, and then only the bad guys will have guns. Is that the society you want to live in? See how that works out for you. No thanks. Pass. Hard pass. We raise our voices to advocate for change, and we will not let this incident stop us from playing the game we love, as you should. We're grateful that nobody was hurt. Me too. But it should not take a tragedy for change to occur. Even with changes happening day in and day out and tragedies happening day in and day out, this isn't going in the right direction because we've emptied out all of our jails. We've emptied out all of our prisons. This whole justice reform thing has been an absolute cluster, you know what. Thank you for your support. Together we can make a difference. Yeah, only if you're willing to see this situation realistically, which is you need to start tossing people who shoot others illegally into jail, into prison, whatever. Get them off the streets. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter who they are. You got to get them off the streets. Until that starts happening, expect more of this, because why wouldn't you? Philadelphia police said the shooting occurred at a nearby Kentucky Fried Chicken parking lot. No arrest was initially made and no weapon was recovered, but thankfully, nobody was hurt. See how we spin to, hey, nobody was hurt. It's all good. It's all fine. It's all fine. And no arrests were made. Interesting. Broad daylight. And how many shots were those? How many? I mean, it's not like that happened in a sound studio where nobody else could hear it. Players, a couple 100 feet away are hearing it, right? They're scared. They're like, and no arrests were made? Yeah, because nobody wants to, tattle on the guy who's in a gang that could come after you and your family. They just don't want to do that because those guys run the streets and we're not arresting them and we're not putting them in jail for stuff like this. We're just not. We've gone the opposite way from that. And so this is literally your new reality. LaSalle was winning 1-0 at the time of the shooting. They have since been credited with a win by that score. I mean, just horrific, right? They played in their first game since the shooting on Friday, losing 4-0 to the University of Richmond. That sucks. St. Louis had a game earlier this week against Sacred Heart canceled. They too returned to action on Friday, losing 5-1 to UMass. Talk about rocking your world. I mean, how'd your season go? Well, we were doing okay. And then we took this little nosedive after that KFC parking lot shooting that resulted in, a bunch of bullets ending up, ricocheting off the stands, and our players left, and, we had to forfeit the game. Everything was going great until then. I mean, what do you say? That's a scary, scary scenario, right? Especially when you're out there with a stick. That's all you got. You're running around in shorts and a t-shirt, and you might have some shin guards on, but that 9mm shell comes whizzing through, and those shin guards aren't gonna. I don't know what kind of guards they have. I know very little about women's field hockey. Yeah, but now I know more than I did before, and I'm glad nobody was impacted here. But what was super interesting for me is. Run this headline through. Run LaSalle women's field hockey team calls for end to senseless gun violence. Run that through your Google machine and see how many other news outlets carried that. It's pretty shockingly few. Not that many. Because it's kind of like, another shooting. What do you mean? That's, senseless gun violence. Come on now. We're not doing anything about that. I mean, these guys are just running around with guns all day long, shooting each other. I mean, Chicago is an excellent example of that, right? Just allowing that continued violence to happen, and very few arrests there happen as well. They just don't. Nobody's squawking to the cops about it, right? Just like here, middle of the day, game going on, lots of people around, lots of people in the stands. I'm sure all they had to do was look over and go, oh yeah. Nobody says anything, mum's the word. And then people want to say, we need to put an emphasis on this because we need this to stop. Well, you do, but you have to not only arrest, prosecute, and then incarcerate. And we've been going the other direction as a whole in society. And now that's coming back around. And this is that flip side. This is that living in the down under where, this is our new reality. Yeah, problematic, tricky. I have concerns. Shouldn't be happening, period. But it is. Got to do something about it. Unless you want to do something about it, expect it to continue. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.